Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today we have two Irish whiskies on the cask, both from the brand Hyde. First we have the number 7 and the number 8. Today we're going to focus on the number 7. And the number 7 was bottled in 2018, so it's not that recent. And it's a single malt, but we don't know the distillery. They don't classify where the distillery is from. They are from the south of Ireland, so maybe it's from one of the distilleries from the south of Ireland. We don't know. But there are certain hints on there to where the whiskey is from. First of all, it's a single malt Irish whiskey. That means it's from one distillery. It's not from various distilleries, but from one distillery. And the next hint is in a sentence on the back label, and that goes the following. Originally distilled in a copper pot still, Hyde No. 7 single malt is matured and toasted first fill vintage Bodega sherry casks. So yes, all the other stuff is just marketing, doesn't say much, but this sentence has a lot of information in there. So first of all, it was on pot stills, so it's not was not distilled on column stills. So it could be called pot still whiskey, but they rather focus on the malt. And the other one is gives us information about where it was matured in, and that was matured in toasted. Toasted means it gives you a good amount of sweetness within the wood, because with toasting you caramelize the wood sugars, and the contents in the wood will be caramelized, and that gives you that great color and that great sweet flavor. First fill, good quality, nothing else has already taken out the flavors other than the Bodega sherry that was within the vintage Bodega sherry that was in the sherry casks before. And the last one that we can see here is it's triple distilled, non-chill filtered. Kind of good. So that gives you, I have already something in there from my previous tasting. I already tasted it in German language, so kind of knowing what I'm getting here. So and you already realize, it's an intense one. You do smell the sherry already, and we also do know it's a full sherry maturation. It's not a cask finish where they refill into a sherry cask, but the spirit has been in the sherry cask from start to finish. Ooh, and it's lovely. The most dominant part, I would say, is nuttiness. The first smell or whiff that I had in German take, I didn't get much of the fruitiness, but now that I had a bit of a sip, I do feel a lot of fruitiness, and that is to be expected with the sherry cask. The sherry cask, the Oloroso Sherry cask. Oloroso is officially not a sweet sherry, but it's a very fruity and nutty sherry. The fruitiness gives you a remembrance of sweetness, and therefore you associate it with sweetness, and a bit of sweetness from the cask. Most of the Oloroso Sherry cask will be sweet whiskeys. Nice. So it's a mixture between oxidized and fresh. In the second whiff, only had the fresh fruits, but now it's a mixture between fresh and oxidized fruits. The flavor is just wholesome. It has a lot of nuttiness in there, and a lot of dried fruits. Wow! So that's pretty much the archetypical whiskey for an Oloroso complete lone Oloroso maturation. And When you go a bit more into the finish, you have a bit more of that nuttiness that is even, it's a very fresh nuttiness with roasted nuts and almonds and that kind of stuff. Goes a bit more into a walnut and more, yeah, fresh bitter nuts. But now in the third sip, the bitterness is not that present anymore. Let me tell you about the story that how I got into the flavor of nuttiness really deep. I have a friend who lives in France, and he has a walnut tree. And the beauty about a walnut tree is you can have the walnuts pretty much in every step of their maturation. Because when you harvest walnuts, you collect the walnuts, then you peel off the walnuts, and then you have a fresh walnut. When you crack that walnut and you eat it, you have a very, very bitter taste. And the more you have these walnuts maturing, the more these bitterness goes away. The bitterness, I'm not sure where the bitterness from the walnuts comes from, but it really feels like tannins. And so I had a few walnuts, I let them mature, and every so often, weeks or month, I tried a walnut, and you do realize how the walnut matures and gives off the bitterness, and you come up with a normal walnut taste. So the walnuts that you know from your local greens dealer or local supermarket, you only have the matured walnuts, probably. Some of you might get fresh walnuts, but don't try fresh, or try them, but don't eat fresh walnuts because they're not really great in taste. Totally different to this whiskey. This whiskey has a really good taste. I was not quite sure. The others are far away, but this is a really, really good whiskey. It's very, very strong in the sherry flavor, but it's not overwhelmingly sweet. So, is it sherry bomb? Not quite. Maybe small sherry bomb, or almost there sherry bomb. An unsweet sherry bomb. So yeah, I wouldn't classify it as a sherry bomb. A very sherry heavy whiskey. 46% triple distilled also gives you a very mild sipping experience. So it would be kind of available for beginners drinkers or beginners whiskey connoisseurs. Maybe not the very first one, but third or fourth one, because it's just a very pleasant, very fruity style whiskey. I like it. So thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, then please feel free to give me a thumbs up, and see you next time.